Hi, welcome to Give Cheese a Chance. I'm Marianne. One of my favorite foods to eat any time of the day is Labneh. Some people in the West refer to it as yogurt cheese, but that erases the Arabic origins of this food. It also refers to it as its process, but I don't go to the store asking for stretch cheese if I want mozzarella, and I certainly don't ask for mold-ripened cheese if I want camembert. So let's get used to referring to it the way it should be. It's Labneh. Labneh, Labneh, Labneh. Since Labneh is made from strained yogurt, you're going to get all the nutritional benefits of yogurt, including probiotics, which are good for your gut. But I don't eat it because of the nutritional benefits. I eat it because it tastes so good. It has just the right amount of lemony tang. If you eat one mouthful, you'll probably want another and another and another. It's just one of the most scrumptious, lip-smacking creamy cheeses I've ever had. Labneh is one of the easiest cheeses you can make. It's a two-step process. First, you make the yogurt, and then you strain the yogurt. It's just that easy. So let's make Labneh together. Step number 1, pour 4 liters or 1 gallon of goat's milk into a pot and heat on medium to medium-low. I'm using goat's milk for this recipe because it gives the best flavor and texture and it preserves the best. You can definitely use cow's milk for this recipe though. Either way, use whole and pasteurized milk. Put the heat on medium-low. You don't want the milk to burn at the bottom of the pot, and stir occasionally until it reaches a boil. So watch for small bubbles to form, not a hard boil. You don't want it to overflow and make a mess. If you have a thermometer, you want to bring this to a temperature of 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius. It's finally come to the boiling point. So at this point, turn off the heat completely. Cover it. And we want the milk to cool down to 115 to 125 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 45 to 50 degrees Celsius. Now this may take a couple of hours. Just keep checking with your thermometer until you get that right temperature. Now our milk has come to the right temperature, but I'm going to tell you an interesting story about how they determined if the milk was at the right temperature in more historic times. For example, my mother and my grandmother didn't have a thermometer. They would use the finger method, the pinky method, where they would take very clean hands, I've washed mine very well, and they would put their finger into the warm milk and they would count 1, 2, 3, 4, and if it was too hot and they had to take their hand out, that meant the milk was too hot to add their starter culture. But if they could put their hand into the milk and count to 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, and up to 11, and their finger was fine, then the milk was the right temperature to add their starter culture. So in order to turn this milk into yogurt, we need some yogurt from a previous batch. Now I'm using some yogurt that was purchased from the grocery store. This happens to be a goat milk yogurt, and the important thing is that on the list of ingredients it says active bacterial culture. So I've measured half a cup of this yogurt, and I'm going to add some of the milk to it. 1 cup of milk, warmed milk. We're going to give it a stir. And when it's fully mixed, we're going to add it directly to our milk in the pot. And in it goes. Give it a very good mix. And after it's fully mixed, we're going to put the lid on and we're going to wrap it in a blanket. The important thing is to keep this inoculated milk at a constant temperature for the next 12 to 18 hours, and that's what the blanket does. So you get your blanket ready, you put your pot in the blanket, and you wrap it up. Now you can certainly leave this on the counter for the next 12 to 18 hours, but I like to take it somewhere else, put it out of the way. And what I do is I put it in the oven, making sure not to turn the oven on. The oven acts as an excellent incubator. Just make sure you don't turn the oven on accidentally, okay? And to ensure that, put a sign on your oven so everyone knows your yogurt is inside. It's now been 18 hours, so let's take a look at our yogurt. Wow, look at that yogurt. You can see it's quite thick. Great texture on this yogurt. I'm going to use this opportunity to put aside a little bit of yogurt for my next batch. If you find that your yogurt is still milk-like and hasn't gelled, then put it back in the oven. It may need more time. Or perhaps your starter didn't have any live culture in it. Or perhaps your milk was too hot or too cold for the bacteria to multiply. Now's a good time to have a taste of your yogurt. It's great. Now that our yogurt is ready, we have to sterilize our large piece of butter muslin fabric. If you don't have any butter muslin fabric, you can use an old threadbare pillowcase, but either way, you have to sterilize your fabric by dropping it in some boiling water for 15 minutes and then letting it cool. Whatever fabric you use, you want to make sure you keep it immaculately clean. Use the same fabric over and over just for your cheese making projects and wash it separately from your other clothes so that you don't get fuzz or dust on it. Now that we've made our yogurt, we want to convert it into Labneh by straining it. So set up your colander in the sink and put your sterilized and cooled fabric cloth over top of it. And use a measuring cup or a large ladle to scoop all of your yogurt into your strainer. Look at how nice and thick that yogurt is. Then lift up the corners of your fabric to create a large pouch. And suspend it from your faucet to drip into the sink. And leave that to drip for 18 to 24 hours and occasionally come by and give it a little encouragement to drip some more. Another method is to use a bowl and to keep your bag of Labneh directly in the colander for the entire draining time. The bowl will catch all of the dripping away, and you just have to make sure to empty the bowl every few hours. Here's a secret for those of you who don't want to bother with using fabric at all to strain your yogurt. Paper towels and even coffee filters work well enough in a pinch. Just check out these before and after pictures using a coffee filter for a small batch. It's time to unveil our Labneh. Wow, look at that, nice and thick. Transfer your Labneh to a bigger bowl and add 2 teaspoons of salt. Now that the salt is mixed in, it's time to plate our Labneh. So take a big scoop, put it on a lovely platter, and smooth it around. You can be quite sculptural with it. Look how beautiful that is. And get your best extra virgin olive oil and drizzle it on top. Then add some tomato slices, some cucumber. You can get fancy and put some olives in the center. You can even decorate it with a little bit of za'atar and toasted pine nuts. However you decorate your plate is not as important as how you eat it. I love it with some fresh pita bread, and I dip it in the Labneh. And eat it just like that. It's so delicious, so tangy. It's the ultimate comfort food. Here are some photos of Labneh submitted by Yasmine Karam of Lebanese origin, presently living in Pennsylvania, USA. Thanks for submitting your photos, Yasmine. For any Labneh that you have left over, just put it into a mason jar or a plastic container and cover it with extra virgin olive oil. Put a lid on it and store it in your refrigerator for several weeks. Now, a more traditional way to store your Labneh is to create balls with very clean hands and cover them with extra virgin olive oil. In historic times, these jars were kept at room temperature, but still, I like to keep mine in the fridge. Thanks for joining me on Give Cheese a Chance. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel. And until then, I hope you have some Labneh with me and sachtain.